This week, a 97-year-old climbed back onto the wing of a biplane 1 year after her stroke. A fragment of the fireball that buzzed the Statue of Liberty landed on a man's bed in New Jersey. And a box of Nintendo cartridges, sent off to be melted down for gold, turned up perfectly sealed after 33 years. None of this is invented. We checked, twice. You are watching Outlier News, the week's most improbable findings, delivered with the enthusiasm they deserve. The data is real. The optimism is optional. In Cheltenham, England, 97-year-old Betty Bromwich climbed onto the top wing of a biplane and did it again. A year after a stroke that still affects her speech, she broke her own Guinness record for oldest female wing walker, a title she first set at age 93. This was her 7th wing walk since turning 87. She raised money for the same stroke unit that treated her, strapped upright with nothing between her and the sky but a harness, and a very firm opinion about boredom. Her reasoning, quote, "I just get bored of life otherwise." In New Jersey, a fragment of the fireball that boomed past the Statue of Liberty at 32,000 miles an hour punched straight through a man's roof and landed on his bed. He gloved up and wrapped it in aluminum foil, which turned out to be exactly the right move. Scientists now call it one of the most pristine meteorites of its kind ever recovered. Only the 22nd observed fall of its type, and just the 2nd ever witnessed. Inside, nearly 2% carbon, salt from an ancient asteroid ocean, and amino acids that formed before Earth existed. The universe mailed itself to New Jersey. In Waukesha, Wisconsin, a box brought into a collectibles shop held 97 shrink-wrapped copies of Super Mario Bros./Duck Hunt, a variant nobody knew existed. The internal date code read late August 1993, 2 years after the game was supposed to have stopped printing. The seller's grandfather worked for a company Nintendo paid to melt old cartridges down for their gold. These never made it into the furnace. Graders found 5 in perfect condition, a first for any NES cartridge ever submitted. 33 years in a box beats 33 years in a furnace. These ones just forgot to get destroyed. Researchers CT scanned 3 dodo skulls, including both of the only 2 complete specimens left on Earth, one in Denmark, one in Oxford. 4 centuries of calling this bird stupid, and nobody had actually looked inside its head. The scans show a stronger sense of smell than living pigeons, a beak built for touch, and activity stretching into dawn and dusk. Nothing in the data supports the idea that it was dim. 400 years of a bad reputation, undone by a CT scanner. The dodo did not see this coming, but it definitely would have smelled it. Off the coast of Dover, underwater photographer Stefan Panis surfaced from a shipwreck holding an intact bottle labelled Guinness and dated 1864. It looks like it came from a case of 24, with more still down there. Scientists are checking whether they can pull complete DNA from it and rebrew an 1860s stout. A historian thinks the bottle resting upside down sealed itself with trapped air, which is the only reason any of this is possible. Panis says he does not even like Guinness. He has volunteered to taste it anyway, for science and possibly for the story. At McGill, nearly 200 people were secretly posture managed. One group's tablet sat on a raised stand, encouraging them to sit upright. Another's sat flat on a low desk, encouraging a hunch. Everyone thought the study was about an app. The upright group took bigger, smarter risks in a gambling-style game and reported feeling noticeably more pride. Researchers checked neck angles on video, and most participants never clocked that posture was the actual variable. The senior researcher's own caution: do not expect this to transform your life. Your chair is not a personality upgrade. In India, Renu Darial took the Guinness record for longest hair on a living woman, 8 feet 10 inches. She has not cut it since 2015 and says she uses nothing but homemade oils and shampoo. She takes the title from a Ukrainian competitor whose hair measured 8 feet, 5.3 inches. For real perspective, the all-time record set in China in 2004 stands at 18 feet, 5.54 inches. 11 years without scissors. Somewhere a barber is taking this personally. A bookstore in Eureka, California opened a package containing a copy of Edward Gorey's The Unstrung Harp, stolen from the shop about 40 years earlier. Inside was the book, $100, and a letter. The sender, a former student who took it decades ago, wrote that he had struggled with addiction and later found what he called a psychic change. He found the book in a garage box and asked if there was anything more he could do. The owner's answer, quote, "It would be so much easier to just feel bad about it, but not act on those feelings. 40 years is a long overdue notice. He paid it anyway." That was this week in things that are technically true. Subscribe to Outlier News, where the data is real and the optimism is optional. I will be back next week, allegedly.